All right, let's dive right into this explainer and completely demystify that invisible magic connecting practically all of our everyday devices. I mean, we use it in our cars, our homes, our home offices, but honestly, how often do we actually stop to consider the incredible engineering that makes it all tick? Well, today we're going to break down exactly how Bluetooth works, moving from the very basic principles of wireless communication all the way to the totally fascinating ways these little devices coordinate with each other in super crowded spaces. Now, I want you to stop for a second and think about something we take for granted every single time we pop in our wireless earbuds or fire up a smart speaker. How on earth does your phone actually tell your headphones what music to play when there's literally no physical wire connecting them? Well, the secret is radio waves. Bluetooth operates by sending and receiving data using these invisible waves, essentially creating a secure, temporary bridge right through thin air. But to really get how this works, we gotta jump back a bit. Picture 1994. The telecommunications company Ericsson invents Bluetooth, and its original goal was, well, incredibly straightforward. It was literally just meant to replace those annoying, tangled computer cables connecting your mouse and keyboard. That's it. It was just a low-cost, short-distance radio standard. But, as we'll see, it has evolved into a massive global communication standard that is way, way bigger than just a simple wire replacement. So let's get into section 1, dodging digital traffic, surviving the noisy room. Okay, imagine you're at a ridiculously crowded dinner party where everyone is shouting at the top of their lungs. To make a connection, your device has to shout its message across that room without getting completely drowned out. Bluetooth operates in the 2.4 gigahertz frequency band. Now, because this is an unlicensed, shared space, everybody's in there. Your Wi-Fi router uses it, other Bluetooth devices use it. Believe it or not, even your microwave oven operates in this space. Yeah, heating up your leftover pizza can theoretically mess with your Spotify playlist. That is exactly the kind of noisy room the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum is for your devices. So how does it survive this absolute chaos? Well, Bluetooth uses a seriously clever trick called adaptive frequency hopping, or AFH for short. Instead of just picking one channel and sitting there, which would be like standing in one spot at that loud party and just praying your friend hears you, Bluetooth is constantly, rapidly changing the frequency, or the channel, that it uses to send data. It actually tracks which channels are too noisy and actively avoids them, prioritizing the clear, quiet channels so your music doesn't skip. And get this, 1600. That is the number of times per second a classic Bluetooth device hops between different radio channels. Just let that sink in for a second. Your earbuds and your phone are coordinating with each other to change their communication channel 1600 times every single second, just to dodge interference. So where are they hopping exactly? Well, classic Bluetooth divides that 2.4 gigahertz band into 79 different channels. Imagine a massive 79-lane highway. By changing lanes 1600 times a second, Bluetooth makes sure that even if one lane is suddenly blocked by a blast of Wi-Fi or a microwave, your data packet instantly hops to a clear lane. This spread spectrum approach is the real secret sauce that makes Bluetooth connections so remarkably robust. Okay, moving right along to section 2, making the connection, team captains and players. Whenever your devices link up, they create this tiny, localized network known as a piconet. Now, let's skip the heavy technical jargon. Just think of a piconet like a sports team huddle. In this huddle, you've got one master device. That's the team captain, and up to 7 active slave devices, the players. The master dictates all the timing and tells everyone when to hop frequencies. The slave devices just passively listen for the captain's commands and only speak up when they're told to. Actually, another great way to picture it is like a classical orchestra. You've got the master node right in the middle acting like the conductor. The secondary nodes, the musicians, surround it, and the conductor precisely coordinates exactly when each musician gets to play their part. And here's the catch. The musicians don't talk directly to each other. They only communicate with the conductor. Oh, and fun fact, while a Piconet supports up to 7 active players at a time, it can actually have up to 255 devices just parked in the background, waiting in the wings for their turn to play. Setting up this little orchestra requires a pretty simple 3-step handshake. First up is inquiry and scanning. Basically, the master device looks around the room to see who's out there. Next is the key exchange, or pairing, where the devices create a shared security key, like a PIN, to lock down the data. And finally, they build a trust chain. They save each other's info, which means the next time they cross paths, they instantly remember each other. Boom, automatic connection, no awkward reintroductions needed. Which brings us to section 3, the low-energy future, learning to sleep. For a really long time, classic Bluetooth was all we had, and it's fantastic for continuous stuff, like blasting an audio stream. It keeps a big, fat connection open all the time. But keeping the radio on constantly, that absolutely devours batteries. So around 2009, enter Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE. BLE was built from the ground up for intermittent connections. Basically, it sleeps a lot. It stays in a deep sleep, wakes up for just a fraction of a second to shout out a tiny bit of data, and then immediately goes right back to sleep. So, it really comes down to a fascinating trade-off. Classic gives you that constant, high-quality stream you want for headphones, but your battery life is measured in hours, maybe days if you're lucky. BLE, on the other hand, trades that continuous flow for mind-blowing efficiency. Because it takes so many micronaps, a BLE smart sensor can literally run on a tiny little coin cell battery for months, or sometimes even years. And BLE doesn't stop there. Remember that strict 7-player limit we talked about in classic Bluetooth? Yeah, BLE throws that completely out the window with mesh networking. Now you can have hundreds or even thousands of devices. Imagine smart light bulbs across an entire skyscraper, all talking to each other. There's no single conductor anymore. Everyone just passes the message along to their neighbor. It's a self-healing network, so if one single bulb burns out, the message just seamlessly routes around it. Brilliant, right? Because of this ultra-low power and some seriously cool new direction-finding tricks, Bluetooth is doing way more than just running your wireless mouse. It can now calculate the exact angle a signal is coming from. With something called angle of arrival, giant factories are tracking the centimeter-level location of moving robots. With angle of departure, your phone becomes an indoor GPS, guiding you through a massive airport using Bluetooth beacons. It is literally the invisible backbone of modern wearable health monitors and smart home automation. It is pretty wild to think we went from a simple, clunky cable replacement back in '94 to this smart, self-healing, low-energy mesh network that can literally navigate us through buildings. As this invisible magic keeps evolving, using even less power while getting better range and precision, it leaves us with one really fascinating question to ponder. What everyday object is going to join the network next? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer on the invisible cable we call Bluetooth. Keep questioning, keep learning, and definitely keep looking closely at the tech right in front of you.